What is up, motherfuckers? Easy Pepe back up in the house. This time I am taking on a new theme, red pills from 4chan and poll. But before I get into the knowledge, I gotta let you all know that the YouTube we love will soon be no more. I received a community guidelines strike for my video number RIP France. I am tempted to re-upload it just to see what happens. My channel is very new and doesn't have much hope of surviving. I plan to mirror content from here on to vid for me from now on. Go follow me there, same channel name. Alright then, let's get into this video. This bit of copy pasta was originally from a Reddit post. I tried to track down the OP, but I couldn't find it, unfortunately. I found this on 4chan in a red pill thread. I thought it poignant in the wake of the Charlottesville events of this past week. What is Antifa? You need to learn who George Soros is and you will suddenly start seeing the world in a very different way. He is the 15th richest person in the world, worth over $25 billion. He's also a full-blown socialist who promotes completely open borders, devaluing the US dollar and replacing it with a singular global currency. Literally a new world order. The term for this is globalism. First of all, he's a convicted felon and was a Nazi collaborator who profited off the Holocaust. Some people will try to lie and say he survived the Holocaust because he's Jewish. But in reality he survived by pretending to be Christian and taking a job with the Nazis, where he stripped valuables from Jews, then sorted through it as they were loaded onto cattle cars in front of his face. This wasn't something he was forced to do, he was paid very well for it, and described it as the happiest time of his life. To this day he says he still feels absolutely no guilt or remorse for it. He claims he was too young to understand what was going on. He was 14. He also has denounced his Jewish heritage, and has donated to anti-Israel terrorist groups. He's paying these people to go out and riot and attempt to divide America and cause civil uprising. He has also single-handedly funded Black Lives Matter and the Ferguson protests, along with both of the women's marches, the March for Rights. They already have 101. He funds all of it for the same reason, civil unrest. It's a divide and conquer technique. One of the richest people in the world, who has billions of dollars worth of ties to over 30 major media news networks: CNN, the LA Times, the Washington Post, even NPR. Not only does he funnel billions into these media organizations, but his foundation called Open Society has funded various committees and boards which all the heads of these companies are members of, and the media is only run by 5 major corporations. You have News Corporation, who owns Fox News; Disney owns ABC; Comcast, NBC; Time Warner owns CNN, HBO, DBs, etc., and National Amusements, which owns CBS and Viacom, and everything they own. He's got billions tied into 4 out of 5 of those companies, all of them except News Corporation. One man controls the narrative of 90% of the media you see, hear, and read every day. He formed an alliance with Hillary Clinton back in 1993. Most people don't remember, but an early version of Obamacare was tried that year when Bill was president. The Clinton health care plan, known officially as the Health Security Act and unofficially nicknamed Hillary Care. Soros was the architect of this, and it was the basis of their alliance. When Hillary Care failed to pass, he got upset and launched a new plan. This is all 100% facts. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Fast forward to 2001, JFK Jr. was planning a run for the open Senate seat in New York. He suddenly died in a plane crash. Clinton suddenly emerged as the frontrunner and her campaign was funded by Soros, and she won. So fast forward to the year 2002, he created what was called the McCain-Feingold Act. Yes, named after John McCain, who is still receiving millions of dollars per year from Soros to this day. It's public record. The McCain-Feingold Act was a Trojan horse under the disguise of campaign financing reform. It regulated mom-and-pop donations that the party relied on, which caused the Democratic Party to go into a financial crisis and nearly bankrupt. It also allowed Soros to swoop in and literally buy the Democratic Party using his alliance with Senator Hillary Clinton, who he essentially owned at this point. Since then he has been deciding party policies from behind the scenes and spent billions more funding both of presidential races. When she lost the first race, but was appointed Secretary of State, Soros set up a committee, called Themeless, the Shadow Government, or Shadow Party. That's not a joke. That's really what they were called. They were also referred to as the Seventh Floor Group, as they occupied the entire 7th floor of the State Department. And this is where most of the party decisions have been made since 2008. After Clinton lost to Trump in 2016, if you're following, it was really Soros running for president under Hillary Clinton's name. Rex Tillerson kicked Soros and his shadow party out of the State House. Ever since then, him and David Brock, a top unofficial Clinton advisor who runs Media Matters, Share Blue, both also funded by Soros, got together and decided to cause civil unrest in an attempt to remove Trump from the White House. Because Soros is pissed he lost, they want to remove Trump. Because if Pence takes over, they can beat him much easier than Trump. This is how Antifa was created. Soros and the Democratic Party elites who want to push the American and global economies into the direction of open borders, socialism, a new world order, a single centralized currency, etc. And they would be the elite ruling class of this global socialist utopia, a dictatorship essentially. And yes, this is as terrifying as it sounds. Soros pays them to protest and start riots. Like I said, it's a political strategy called divide and rule in politics and sociology, by gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. The concept refers to a strategy that breaks up existing power structures, and especially prevents smaller power groups from linking up, causing rivalries and fomenting discord among the people. They claim to be anti-fascism, but try to suppress free speech and use violence against anyone who has different political opinions than them. They are socialists. So ironically, they are promoting fascism and being paid by a Nazi collaborator convicted felon. The main source of funding for the entire Democrat Party, and Hillary Clinton in particular, is puppet. Feel free to Google any bit of that to verify it. It's all 100% true. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's not a theory, it's just a regular conspiracy. In the legal sense, conspiracy is a major crime. Treason essentially, when you are plotting to overthrow the government, it is treason. And whether you like Trump or not, that's what they're trying to do. Edit. Oh, also forgot to mention, one time in an interview with the LA Times back in 1996, Soros said that he thinks he is literally God, not figuratively. He thinks he is actually God. Also in the early 90s, he pretty much almost destroyed the British economy in a single afternoon by shorting the British pound just because he couldn't send the country into a financial crisis. It was called Black Wednesday. Despite the suffering of the citizens it caused, he blamed the people in charge for making it possible for him to do that. That's how this man's mind works. He's a fucking psychopath, and we nearly elected him president last year without realizing it. He and Clinton even won the popular vote. If it weren't for the Electoral College, George Soros, a convicted felon, pro-socialism globalist who promotes completely open borders, a centralized global currency under the control of a new world order, and who was an actual Nazi collaborator that profited from the actual Holocaust. Right now he would be the top advisor to President Clinton. The new world order already exists, they just want to expand it. Look at the EU for example. Soros wants to turn the whole world into what the EU is doing with one currency and open borders. It's a fucking mess. France is getting attacked by terrorists on a monthly basis. Read what's going on in Germany and Sweden with the violence and rape and Sharia law safe zones. Several countries have been on the verge of financial collapse on several occasions. Soros also has $13 billion in ties to dozens of multinational corporations, by the way, through Open Society. Brexit will go down as the thing that saved the UK from that nonsense. But besides that, read up on what the World Trade Organization is, the WTO and the World Bank, and how it's reliant on the Federal Reserve, which determines the value of the US dollar based on nothing, and is privately run by Wall Street bankers who refuse to let the government audit them. Every time they try, the bill gets shut down over and over again. So if you ever hear anyone talking about why they hate globalism, that is why. These Antifa kids are basically millennial idiots who think socialism is great, and that Republicans are fascists, and they love to protest things. But to explain who they really are is much more complicated. They're being funded, and it's for a reason. Divide and conquer is a political tactic that is as old as politics itself. If you're a history fan, you know it's been tried many times. It's considered Machiavellian, and generally the people trying to implement that strategy aren't doing it in the name of democracy and freedom, or with the best interest of the citizens in mind. It's almost always for the benefit of the people trying to take power. If someone is implementing divide and conquer and spending billions of dollars to do it, you should be concerned about them. History has a way of repeating itself. It's working, by the way. Have you ever seen the country this divided in your life? So that's who Antifa is. I just tried my best to do it in one post, lol.